The call came on a Tuesday, exactly 15 years after my father told me I wasn't worth the air I breathed. I was in the middle of a board meeting when my assistant slid me a note. Your mother's calling. Third time today. My name is Quinn, and I'd built a tech empire from the ground up while my family pretended I didn't exist. Funny how life works sometimes. We need to wrap this up, I told my executives, maintaining my composure despite the tremor in my hands. Send me the final projections by tomorrow morning in my office. I stared at my mother's number on my phone screen, the same number I'd memorized as a child, back when I still believed family meant something. Quinn. Her voice was smaller than I remembered. Baby, is that you? It's me. I kept my tone neutral, professional. The Manhattan skyline stretched out behind my desk, a view I'd earned while they wrote me off. We've been trying to reach you. A pause, your father. He wants to talk. I almost laughed. 15 years of silence, and now he wants to talk. Things are different now. We've seen you in the papers, on TV, your company, what you've built. She trailed off, probably remembering the day they kicked me out. I was 17 then. Dad had gathered everyone in the living room, Mom, my brothers, Damon and Rodney. No daughter of mine is going to waste time with computers, he'd declared. You'll marry well. That's your purpose. I'd refused, packed my bags that night. Quinn's mom's voice pulled me back. There's a family dinner on Friday. Please come. Why should I? Because she hesitated. Your father's business? We're struggling. The market crash hit us hard. He needs my money. I finished for her. That's what this is about. No. We want to make amends. We were wrong. Quinn? So wrong. I swiveled in my chair, watching my reflection in the window. The scared teenage girl was gone, replaced by a woman in a tailored suit who controlled a billion-dollar tech company. Text me the details, I said finally. I'll think about it. After hanging up, I called Kayla, my business partner and the only person who knew the full story of my past. They reached out, I told her. She sounded concerned. What are you going to do? I'm going to that dinner. I pulled up my calendar. But first, I need you to clear my schedule for Friday and book a table at LA Bernadine. Quinn, Kayla's voice carried a warning. Don't do anything rash. Rash? No. I smiled, remembering how Dad used to parade my brothers around at business functions while I sat in the corner, invisible. I'm going to do something spectacular. That evening, I dug out an old photo album I kept locked in my desk. There I was, 12 years old, proudly showing Dad the computer program I'd written. He wasn't even looking at me. Next to it, a picture of Damon receiving a sports trophy, Dad beaming with pride. My phone buzzed. Mom's text with the dinner details. Your father says to dress appropriately, she added in a second message. I texted back, change of plans. I'm hosting LA Bernadine 8 p.m. Tell Dad his precious sons can come too. Then I called Carlos, my PR specialist. I need you to arrange something discreet. Photographers, carefully placed. Make sure they catch every moment. What's the angle, he asked. I thought about Dad's face when he'd realized his daughter now had the power to make or break him. About Mom's silent compliance all those years. About my brother's smirks when I was thrown out. Family reconciliation, I said. The prodigal daughter returns, but that's just the beginning. And the real story. I touched the photo of my 12-year-old self, tracing the hope in those eyes before it was crushed. The real story is revenge, but we're going to package it as redemption. I closed the album. They wanted a proper daughter. I'll give them a proper show. After hanging up, I stood at my window, watching the city lights flicker to life. Somewhere out there, my family was probably huddled together, discussing how to handle me, how to get what they needed while maintaining their precious pride. Let them plan. Let them think they could manipulate me. I'd learned from the best. After all, Friday couldn't come soon enough. I had 15 years of silence to fill, and I was going to make every word count. They wanted my help. They'd get it, along with a very public lesson in karma. I picked up my phone one last time and texted Kayla. Book the private room and make sure there's champagne. We're going to celebrate a family reunion they'll never forget. La Bernadine's private room felt smaller with my family in it. Dad arrived first, of course. Punctuality was one of his obsessions. His silver hair was thinner than I remembered, but his stance remained rigid, commanding. Quinn? He extended his hand like we were closing a business deal. You look successful. I ignored his hand. 15 years will do that. Mom hurried in behind him, wringing her hands. A nervous habit I'd inherited and trained myself to break. She moved to hug me, then stopped, uncertain. Your hair? She said softly. It's so elegant now. Damon and Rodney arrived together, both in expensive suits that couldn't quite hide their desperation. Damon's Rolex was probably his last status symbol, while Rodney's shoes were scuffed at the heels. "Little sister," Damon said, forcing a smile. "Finally decided to acknowledge your family." "Funny," I replied, taking my seat at the head of the table. I was about to say the same thing. The waiter appeared with champagne, and I watched them squirm as I ordered the most expensive bottle. Dad's eye twitched. He knew exactly how much. "It costs two family." I raised my glass, and perfect timing. Damon cleared his throat. "Quinn, about your company's incredible," Rodney interrupted, earning a glare from Dad. "I mean, the Innovation Awards, the Forbes cover, ... the money," I added, making them all flinch. "That's what you really want to discuss, isn't it?" Dad set down his glass. "We've made mistakes," I laughed. "Is that what we're calling it now?" "Quinn," Mom pleaded, "we're trying." "You're trying because you're desperate." I pulled out my tablet, sliding it across the table. "Your company's hemorrhaging money, Dad. 3 failed projects in 2 years. The board's considering a vote of no confidence." The color drained from his face. "How did you?" "I do my research. Unlike you, I learned from my mistakes." I tapped the tablet. "Damon's division is particularly interesting. Those investment choices." "Amateur hour." Damon's knuckles went white around his fork. "You don't understand. Actually, I do. Better than anyone." I leaned forward. "You need my help. My connections. My money. But mostly, you need my name." The waiter arrived with appetizers, and we all pretended to be fascinated by our plates. "What do you want?" Dad finally asked, his voice rough. "I'm hosting a gala next month. Women in Tech Initiative, very prestigious. Lots of media coverage." I watched their faces carefully. "You're all going to attend as my loving, supportive family," Rodney frowned. "That's it. Oh, there's more." I smiled. "Dad, you'll give a speech about how proud you are of your daughter's achievements. Damon, you'll announce a new division in your company focused on supporting women in STEM fields." "That's ridiculous," Damon sputtered. "Our shareholders will love it. Trust me, I've done the math." I turned to Mom. "And you, Mother, will be the face of a new scholarship program for girls interested in technology." The silence was deafening. Dad's jaw clenched so tight I thought he might crack a tooth. "And if we refuse?" he asked. "Then I'll watch from my office as your empire crumbles." I shrugged. "Either way, I win." Mom touched Dad's arm. "Colin, maybe ... double quotes." "Fine," he cut her off. "We'll play your game." "It's not a game." I stood up, dropping my napkin on the table. "It's karma, and we're just getting started." "You've become quite the manipulator," Damon said bitterly. "I learned from the best, big brother." I gathered my things. "Carlos, my PR specialist, will be in touch with details. Don't worry, he'll make sure you all look appropriately progressive and enlightened." "Quinn," Mom called as I reached the door. "Was any of this ... Did you really want to reconnect?" I turned back, seeing the hope in her eyes, the same hope I'd had all those years ago. "You know what's funny?" I said. "If you'd reached out before you needed something, this might have gone differently." I left them sitting there, surrounded by expensive food and bitter realizations. Outside, the night air felt clean, liberating. My phone buzzed, a text from Kayla. "How'd it go?" "Perfectly." I replied. "They took the bait. Call Carlos. It's time for phase 2. As my car pulled up, I caught my reflection in the window. I looked exactly like what I'd become. Powerful, untouchable, and absolutely merciless. Just like they'd taught me to be. "This is delicious," Carlos said, taking another bite of his croissants. "Almost as delicious as your plan." We were in my penthouse office, surrounded by mood boards and event layouts for the gala. Kayla sat cross-legged on the floor, sorting through potential media contacts. "The press will eat this up," Carlos continued. "Tech mogul reconciles with traditional family, transforming them into champions of women's empowerment. It's perfect." Perfect," Kayla muttered. "Quinn, are you sure about this?" I walked to the window, watching a flock of pigeons scatter across the morning sky. "Show me the speech drafts." Carlos pulled out his tablet. "I've written 3 versions for your father. This one's my favorite. I was wrong. My greatest achievement wasn't building a company. It was raising a daughter who showed me the true meaning of success." "He'll choke on those words," I said, smiling. "That's the point." Carlos swiped through more documents. "Damon's announcement about the women's STEM division is ready to... We've already leaked hints to industry blogs." My phone buzzed. "Speaking of Damon..." "Excuse me," I said, stepping into the hallway. "We need to talk," he growled. "Alone." 20 minutes later, I found him pacing in the lobby of my building. He looked worse than at dinner. Tie loose, hair disheveled, making me come to you, he sneered. Power move. My building. My rules. I led him to a private conference room. What do you want? He ran a hand through his hair. This little revenge fantasy of yours, it needs to stop or what? You don't understand what's at stake. He slammed his fist on the table. Dad's company isn't just struggling, we're weeks away from collapse. The board meeting next month, ... I know all about the board meeting. I sat down, crossing my legs. Just like I know about your offshore accounts. His face went pale. How did you? The same way I know about Rodney's gambling debts. The same way I know Mom's been secretly taking anti-anxiety medication for 20 years. I leaned forward. I did my homework, Damon. All of it. So this is blackmail. This is opportunity. Play your part, and I'll make sure the board sees your new initiative as innovative leadership. The women's STEM division will attract fresh investors, positive press. And if I refuse, then I'll watch you drown. I stood up, just like you watched them throw me out. He grabbed my arm as I turned to leave. You were always the smart one, he said quietly. Even back then, I should have ... I pulled away. Should have what? Stood up for me. Protected your little sister. I was afraid, he admitted, of disappointing him. Of losing my place. And now you're afraid of losing everything. I straightened my jacket. Funny how life works out. Back in my office, Kayla and Carlos were arguing over seating arrangements. The media needs clear sight lines. Carlos insisted every camera should capture their faces when Quinn announces the scholarship program. Speaking of which, Kayla interrupted as I entered. We need to talk about your mother. What about her? She called while you were gone. Wanted to meet. For coffee? Kayla hesitated. She seemed different. I remembered Mom's face at dinner. The way she'd almost hugged me. Different doesn't change anything, doesn't it? Kayla stood up. Quinn, I've known you for 10 years. You're not just doing this for revenge. Stay focused, I snapped. Carlos, what's next? He checked his notes. We need your family's measurements for the gala outfits, and we should schedule a photo shoot. Something casual, showing the reconciliation process. Fine. I picked up a layout board. What about the scholarship announcement? Already trending on social media? He grinned. The mysterious tech CEO planning something big. Speculation is through the roof. My phone buzzed again. Dad this time. I ignored it. Quinn, Kayla said softly. What happens after? When the gala's over, I stared at the mood board, at the perfect family portrait we'd create. They learned their lesson, and you before I could answer. My assistant rushed in. Miss Quinn, your brother Damon is talking to reporters in the lobby. What? I pulled up the security feed. There he was, surrounded by journalists, looking straight into the cameras. My heart stopped. He's going off script, Carlos said, already dialing his contacts. I watched Damon's lips move, unable to hear his words, but recognizing his expression, the same one he wore the night I left. Get him out of there, I ordered. Now. As my team scrambled, I froze, watching my carefully constructed plan teeter, on the edge of chaos. Maybe Kayla was right. Maybe this wasn't just about revenge anymore. Maybe it was about something much more dangerous. Hope, your brother's interview is everywhere, Carlos announced, tossing a stack of newspapers onto my desk. But you need to see this. The headline screamed across every front page. Tech mogul's brother confesses, we failed her and family drama behind Silicon Valley success story. I scanned Damon's quotes. Our father was wrong. Quinn proved that. Now we're trying to make amends to be the family she deserved. He went rogue, I said, but he stayed on message. Better than on message. Carlos grinned. He cried, Quinn actually cried on camera. The internet's eating it up. My phone lit up. Mom again. Third time today. This time, I answered, have you seen it? She asked. Damon's performance? Yeah, it wasn't a performance. She paused. I'm at the coffee shop near your office. Please, Quinn. 20 minutes later, I found her at a corner table, hands wrapped around an untouched latte. She looked smaller than I remembered, more fragile. You're not wearing makeup, I observed, sitting down. I stopped. She met my eyes. After you left, it felt pointless pretending. Like you pretended not to see what was happening to me. Her hands trembled. I was weak. Every time he dismissed you, I died inside. But I stayed silent for 15 years. No, she reached into her bag, pulled out a worn folder. I kept everything. Every news article about you, every achievement. I followed your journey, Quinn, in silence, in shame. But I followed it. I opened the folder. There I was, from my first startup to my IPO. Pictures, clippings, printouts from tech blogs. Some were tear-stained. Why are you showing me this? Because you need to know, her voice cracked. The scholarship program you want me to represent, I want to do it. Not for show. For real. My coffee arrived. I stirred it slowly, buying time. Dad won't like that. Your father just got a call. She leaned forward. The board is moving up their vote. They want him out, Quinn. Unless, Unless I help. I closed the folder, and what do you want, Mom? Really want a chance? She touched my hand. Not just to fix the past, but to do something meaningful. These girls you want to help. I see you in all of them. My phone buzzed. Kayla reminding me about the gala preparations. I should leave. This wasn't part of the plan. Show me, I said instead. What? Show me you mean it. Come to my office, meet my team. See what we're really building. An hour later, Mom stood in our innovation lab, watching young women code, create, innovate. Her eyes were wide, taking everything in. This is incredible, she whispered. Miss Quinn, my assistant, appeared. Your father's here. He's demanding to see you. I found him in the lobby, face red with anger. What did you do? He demanded. The board chairman just called something about a leaked memo, I have no idea what you're talking about. I smiled. But since you're here, let's talk about the gala. Carlos has your speech ready. Damn the gala. He stepped closer. You think you can destroy everything I built? No, Dad. You're doing that just fine on your own. Colin. Mom's voice cut through his rage. She stood in the doorway, steel in her spine. Enough. He blinked, surprised by her tone. Melina, I'm staying, she said. Quinn's showing me the scholarship program. You can either join us in the future or stay in your past. I watched his face cycle through confusion, anger, fear. You're choosing her. I'm choosing what's right. Mom turned to me. Where do we start? Before I could answer, Rodney burst in, out of breath. Dad, the investors. They're calling an emergency meeting. Something about new leadership. Dad's phone rang. His hands shook as he checked the screen. The chairman, take it, I said. In fact, put it on speaker. Let's all hear what the future holds. As Dad's world crumbled around him, I watched Mom explore my office, touching the awards with pride. Rodney collapsed into a chair, looking lost. Somewhere in the building, Damon's interview was probably still playing on loop. My phone buzzed. One last time, Carlos. Everything's proceeding as planned, but Quinn, are you sure you want to go through with the final phase? I looked at my family, scattered and broken, and maybe, just maybe, ready to rebuild. Stand by. I texted back, the game's changing. The question was I ready to change with it? The gala buzzed with energy as New York's elite mingled under crystal chandeliers. I stood at the entrance, greeting guests while photographers captured every calculated smile. Your family's already inside, Carlos whispered, appearing at my elbow. Your father's been practicing his speech. He actually looks nervous. Good. I smoothed my midnight blue gown. Where's Mom? Talking to the scholarship candidates. She's a natural. Quinn? Those girls adore her. I spotted Damon across the room, surprisingly at ease as he discussed the Women's STEM initiative with a group of investors. Rodney hovered nearby, actually paying attention for once. Miss Quinn. A young girl approached, maybe 17, clutching a tablet. I'm one of the scholarship finalists. I just wanted to say, you're why I started coding. My practiced smile faltered. She looked exactly like I had at that age. Hungry for recognition, desperate to prove herself. What's your name, Sarah? She pulled up her project on the tablet. I developed this app for domestic violence survivors. It looks like a normal calculator, but it sends encrypted distress signals. This is brilliant. Sarah, your mother, said the same thing. She beamed. She's been showing everyone my work. Before I could respond, the lights dimmed. Carlos appeared again. It's time I took the stage, scanning the crowd. Hundreds of faces looked back, including my family's. Dad sat rigid in his chair, speech cards trembling slightly. Mom watched me with tears in her eyes, while my brothers tried to mask their anxiety. Welcome, I began. 15 years ago, I was told that women don't belong in tech, that our place was in the background, supporting men's dreams instead of chasing our own. The room fell silent. Today, we're changing that narrative. Not just through words, but through action. I gestured to the screen behind me where images of young female coders appeared. Meet our future. 20 brilliant minds who will receive full scholarships to pursue their tech dreams. Applause erupted. I caught Sarah's radiant smile in the crowd. But first, I continued, someone else wants to share their journey of transformation. Dad? He stood slowly, straightening his tie. The cameras turned to him as he approached the podium. This was it. The moment of my triumph. My revenge. He cleared his throat, looked down at his cards, and then set them aside. I had a speech prepared, he said, his voice rough, about progress and change. But watching my daughter tonight, seeing these young women's potential, he turned to me. Quinn, I was wrong. Not just about you, but about everything. The room held its breath. This wasn't the scripted speech Carlos had prepared. I lost 15 years with my daughter because of pride and ignorance. I watched from a distance as she built something extraordinary, while I clung to outdated beliefs that were destroying my own company. Mom reached for Damon's hand. Rodney wiped his eyes. Tonight isn't about saving my business, Dad continued. It's about saving our future. These scholarships, they're named after my wife, Melina. Because while I was teaching our sons to lead, she was quietly showing our daughter how to revolutionize. The cameras flashed as Mom joined us on stage, followed by my brothers. Dad turned to me, his eyes glistening. I don't deserve forgiveness, he said, but I'm asking for a chance to support the vision you've built. Not as your superior, but as a father who finally sees his daughter's brilliance. The applause was deafening. Carlos gave me a thumbs up. This was better than anything we'd planned. But I barely noticed. The Melina Scholarship Fund, I announced, my voice steady despite my racing heart, will ensure that no other girl hears no when she should hear fly. Sarah and the other candidates joined us on stage. Mom hugged each one, whispering encouragement. Damon shook their hands, looking genuinely impressed. Even Rodney engaged, asking about their projects with real interest. As the evening wound down, I found myself alone with Dad on the balcony. Did you mean it? I asked. Every word. He stared at the city lights. The board voted this morning. I'm stepping down as CEO. I know they want you to take over. He turned to me. Not because you're my daughter, but because you're better than I ever was. Inside, I could hear Mom laughing with the scholarship recipients. Damon was exchanging contact information with investors. Rodney was actually taking notes. The company needs new leadership, Dad said. It needs you. I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw something I'd never seen before. Respect. We'll talk, I said finally. After all, I have some ideas about modernizing the family business. He smiled, and for the first time in 15 years, it reached his eyes. Your father's speech is trending worldwide, Carlos announced, scrolling through his phone. The video has over 10 million views. Hashtag Pearson Transformation is the top hashtag. We were in the aftermath meeting, reviewing the gala's impact. The wall of screens behind us displayed news coverage from every major network. The stock's up 30%, Kayla added. Investors are calling nonstop. Everyone wants a piece of the new, progressive Pearson empire. I stared at the footage playing silently on the screens. Dad's emotional speech. Mom hugging the scholarship recipients. My brother's actually looking human. It wasn't supposed to go like this, I muttered. No, Kayla agreed. It was supposed to be revenge. Instead, it's become a revolution. Speaking of which, Carlos finished. Time magazine wants to do a cover story. The family that changed. Silicon Valley. My phone buzzed. Damon? Excuse me? I said, stepping out. I found him in the company's lobby, looking up at the massive digital wall displaying our stock price. Remember when Dad used to say women couldn't understand numbers? He gestured at the climbing numbers. Guess he was wrong about that too. Among other things, I crossed my arms. What do you want, Damon? The board approved your leadership proposal. He handed me a folder. Dad's stepping down next month. They want you as CEO, me as coup. And get this, they want Mom to head the foundation. And you're okay with that? Working under your little sister? He laughed. I saw the code those scholarship girls wrote. They're better than I'll ever be. Just like you always were. Flattery won't erase the past. No, he agreed. But maybe this will help. He pulled out his phone, showed me an email. I'm selling my house, my cars, everything. The money is going to fund 10 more scholarships. I blinked. What, Rodney, too? He's actually meeting with Sarah right now. She's helping him develop an app for gambling addiction recovery. Before I could respond, Mom burst in, practically glowing. Quinn, the foundation just received $1 million donation. Anonymous. But, she hesitated, It's from your father. He sold his golf club membership and his collector cars. I sat down hard on a nearby chair. This wasn't how revenge was supposed to feel. There's more, Damon said. Show her, Mom. She pulled up a video on her tablet. Dad was being interviewed on a major news network. My daughter taught me that true legacy isn't about maintaining old power structures, he was saying. It's about embracing change, acknowledging mistakes, and working to create a better future. And your company's new direction, the interviewer asked, is exactly what it should have been 15 years ago. Following Quinn's vision, she saw the future while I was stuck in the past. Now it's time for me to step aside and let her lead. I turned off the tablet. This doesn't fix everything. No, Mom agreed. But it's a start. She touched my arm. The girls from the scholarship program, they're asking if you'll mentor them. I don't know if they need you, she interrupted. Like I needed you to show us all how to be stronger. My phone buzzed again. Carlos with urgent news. The headlines flashed across my screen. Tech giant announces historic all-female board, and Silicon Valley's gender revolution begins. Quinn. Kayla appeared, looking worried. There's something you need to see. She led us to the conference room where the news was playing on the big screen. A group of female tech CEOs was announcing a partnership with our foundation. They were pledging billions to support women in tech. This is bigger than us now, Damon said quietly. Dad appeared in the doorway, looking uncertain. The press is asking for a family statement. All of us? Together. I looked at my family, really looked at them. Mom standing tall and proud. Damon finally seeing me as an equal. Dad humbled, but trying. Even Rodney rushing in with Sarah, excitedly showing off their app progress. Quinn, Carlos prompted. What? Should I tell the press? I thought about the scared 17-year-old girl I'd been dreaming of this moment. But revenge had turned into something else. Something bigger. More important. Tell them, I said, that the future doesn't belong to any one family or gender. It belongs to everyone brave enough to change. Now that's a legacy worth building. Dad smiled. Together, Mom asked. I looked at the scholarship girls watching us through the glass walls, their faces full of hope and determination. This wasn't just about healing my family anymore. It was about making sure no other girl had to fight the battles I did. Together, I agreed. But on one condition. We do it right this time. And how's that? Damon asked. I smiled. By breaking every glass ceiling we can find. You can't hide in your office forever, Kayla said, barging in with a stack of papers. The transition ceremony is in 2 hours. I was staring at an anonymous email that had arrived that morning. Your family's transformation is a lie. I have proof. Meet me or it goes public. Quinn? Kayla waved her hand in front of my face. Earth to CEO. Someone knows, I said, turning my laptop around. About the original plan. The revenge plot. Kayla read the email, her face darkening. Could be a bluff. Or it could destroy everything we've built. I stood up, pacing. The scholarships, the foundation, all of it. Quinn? Sarah burst in, her eyes bright. Sorry to interrupt, but you have to see this. She pulled up a video on her tablet. A teenage girl was speaking at a tech conference, wearing a t-shirt with my face on it. Quinn showed us that we don't need anyone's permission to change the world. The girl was saying, my dad used to tell me tech wasn't for girls. Now he's helping me build my startup. That's the 5th speech like this week. Sarah beamed. You're starting a movement. My phone buzzed. The anonymous emailer again. 1 hour. Coffee shop across the street. I have to go. I told Kayla. Cover for me at the pre-ser meeting. The coffee shop was crowded, but I spotted him immediately. Rodney, sitting alone in the corner holding an old USB drive. You? I sat down, stunned. You sent the email. Found this while cleaning out my old room. He slid the drive across the table. It's your revenge plan. All the details, the manipulation, everything. You left it on your computer the night you ran away. My hand shook as I picked up the drive. Why didn't you tell Dad? Because I was ashamed. He looked down, saw what you were planning, but I did nothing. Just like I did nothing when they kicked you out. And now I see what you've actually built. He gestured outside where a group of young girls walked past, wearing future tech leader shirts. This is bigger than revenge. It's real change. So why the threatening email? Because you need to let go of the past. He leaned forward. The ceremony today, Dad's not just stepping down, he's announcing a complete restructuring. The board wants to name the new headquarters after you. What? But first, he pulled out another USB drive. You need to decide, this one has proof of what the company was really like before. The discrimination, the sexism, everything. Release it and you get your final revenge. Keep it hidden, and we keep building the future. My phone buzzed repeatedly. Messages from everyone. Mom asking about the ceremony speech. Dad sending last-minute suggestions for the transition. Damon confirming the new board appointments. Sarah sharing more videos of inspired girls. Time to choose, sis, Rodney said softly. Revenge or revolution? I stared at the two drives, everything I'd planned, everything I'd become. Quinn. Sarah appeared at our table, breathless. Sorry, but there's an emergency. The scholarship girls, they're all here. They want to show you something before the ceremony. In the lobby of my building, 30 young women stood waiting, each holding a laptop. As I approached, they opened them in unison, revealing a synchronized display across all screens. We wrote this together, Sarah explained. An AI program that identifies and counters gender bias in corporate communications. We call it the Quinn Protocol. It's already being adopted by major tech companies. Your father's company will be the first to implement it fully. Another girl added, I felt tears forming. You did this. You showed us how, Sarah said simply. Now we're showing others. My phone buzzed one final time. Carlos. Media's here for the ceremony. Everyone's waiting. I looked at Rodney, then at the drives in my hand. With a deep breath, I dropped them into the lobby's decorative fountain. Let's go change the world, I told the girls. For real this time. In the auditorium, I found my family waiting backstage. Mom was coaching the scholarship recipients. Dad was practicing his introduction. Damon was reviewing the new corporate structure with board members. Ready? Kayla asked, appearing beside me. I watched Sarah lead her team to their seats, their faces glowing with possibility. Watched Mom stand tall as reporters approached her about the foundation. Watched Dad prepare to publicly hand over his life's work to his daughter. Quinn, Rodney touched my arm. The revenge plot. Are you sure about letting it go? I smiled, thinking of all the girls who would never have to plan revenge because they'd be too busy planning their futures. Some things, I said, are more powerful than revenge. The lights dimmed. It was time to step into the spotlight, not as the daughter seeking vengeance, but as the leader showing the way forward. And that's how you change the world. I concluded my TED Talk, gesturing to the screen behind me where Sarah was demonstrating her latest AI breakthrough. The audience erupted in applause. Backstage, Mom waited with tears in her eyes. I still can't believe how far we've come. Speaking of which, Kayla interrupted, rushing over with her tablet. The Quinn Protocol just got adopted by every major tech company in Silicon Valley. It's officially industry standard now. And perfect timing, Carlos added, appearing with his usual impeccable timing. Because wait until you see tomorrow's Wall Street Journal. He handed me an advanced copy. The headline read, Tech Gender Revolution, How One Family's Transformation Sparked Global Change. Don't forget this, Dad said, joining us. He looked older but lighter somehow, like he'd finally set down a heavy burden. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a letter from a